Hey guys, I told you I'd do a video on sounds, but prior to doing that, I really wanted to provide some of the new guys that are out hunting some sort of framework for fundamentals. I think that's really important. Craig Sandy did a video the other day, and I consider Craig to be one of the top guys out there. There's a lot of good hunters out there. I could name just a whole slew, but it just happens that Craig Sandy came out kind of with a thing, a little video on how he kind of approaches a stand, and he talked a little bit about fundamentals, and I wanted to get into that in just a little bit. I'm going to make this quick, and we're going to break this down into three parts, because I think without having good fundamentals, your results using good sounds, good equipment, etc. are going to be really inconsistent, and it's going to be tough to know whether the sound you're playing or the way you're setting up your stand is what resulted in that coyote coming in or not. You do the same thing next stand, you think, and without good fundamentals, you don't see anything, or they just bark and sit out there a long way. So I wanted to hit on just three primary things that I think all consistent coyote killers do, and they take into account whenever they approach a stand. And I may be wrong, but this is my thoughts on it, and I'm just going to share them with you. Any comments are totally welcome, but the three things that I see that coyotes have to their advantage. So in their arsenal, we're out there, we've got guns, we've got calls, etc., etc. Some people have thermal night vision. A coyote has three things. Okay, it's got its sight, scent, and its ability to hear. So sound. I call those the three S's. And if you approach your coyote hunting keeping these three things in mind, those basic fundamental things that are to their advantage, you're going to increase the consistency with which you bring in coyotes. And I'm all about that. I don't get out to hunt as much as I used to. I don't grind like I used to, and so I just got a busier life, especially with my wife being ill some time ago. I had to make the time I could spend in the field count. I might only get time to do one or two stands, so I wanted to be sure I was going to bring a coyote in. So I always work on percentages, like what's my percentage to bring in a coyote, and that has been a thing that I've really concentrated on and paid attention to my mistakes as well as my successes throughout the field. So let's talk about these three fundamentals, and let's start out with I want to start out with sound. Okay, when a guy's approaching a stand, or when you're driving up to a stand, if the coyotes in your area hear trucks a lot or vehicles a lot, it's not a big concern. But things like when you stop and turn off the vehicle, Craig hit on this, and you open the door and that ding, 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 that's just an alarm bell. They can hear that forever, all right? Coyotes' ears are tremendously good. So one of the things that I would concentrate on is any unnatural sound, reduce. When you're walking into a stand, are you going to step on twigs? Yeah, it's tough to avoid sometimes, and you think, oh, but the fact is there's other animals out there, there's other things that break twigs. It's not as big concern. It's not as big a concern as if you've got a nylon kind of like pants or a jacket, and you're rubbing your arm against it and it's making that noise. That is going to give you away right there. And coyotes' ears are tremendously good at geolocating anything. If you've ever borrowed your buddy's hearing aid and gone out and just stopped and listened, just turn, with the volume up, you can turn your head just even with one end, and you can pinpoint birds chirping like half a mile away. It's pretty amazing, and coyotes certainly are capable of doing that. I could go on about stands I've had in total darkness, and I stop my call a minute prior, and I see two coyotes just charging in hard at like 300 yards, and they come directly to my call in the middle of the night. Have no idea that, should have no idea where it is. It's just kind of, in that zone, but they're geolocating it and they're coming right to my call. And so if you're making noise on stand, or you're making noise coming into a stand that's unnatural, just guaranteed that is a fundamental thing that's going to jam you up. And so I would pay attention to things like shutting your car door. I don't even shut my car doors, even if it's raining. I just kind of shut them until they partially close. I open them up, open them as quietly as I can. I even use WD-40 or a grease to hit the door so they're quieter when I open them. There's a number of things. So we go on and on. I mean, you could do a whole like 30 minutes on sound alone, but it's just something to be totally aware that a coyote, that's one of its main primary tools for avoiding you and surviving. And they're good survivors. So sound is really critical. Pay attention to anything that sounds odd. Clicking of your rifle sling, you know, if you got boots that squeak when you walk in, man, it's time to get a different pair of boots on. So I'm going to keep that brief. We're going to go on. I'm going to do another video, and we're going to talk about sight, and then we'll talk about scent, and then we'll get on to the real business. I really want to talk about sounds, but without talking about these three things and really paying attention to them, I think it's going to be tough to be consistent. Kind of like a guy that has a great rifle, good bullet setup, shoot out to 1,000 yards, do like an inch or two, whatever. If you don't have your fundamental shooting principles down, your bullets are going to be all over the place. It's the same thing with coyote hunting. If your fundamentals aren't down, and mine even, if I'm not paying attention, if I'm not paying attention to those all the time, then I'm going to get inconsistent results. And usually those inconsistent results mean I'm not seeing coyotes, or I'm not bringing them in. So anyways, that's the first one. I've already done this video once before, but my dog was snoring in the next room. So I got a shotgun mic here, so hopefully you guys can hear this okay. Let's do sight. We'll do scent, which I think is one of the most important ones. And then we'll move on to sounds and how to maybe sequence. So we'll start out with some basics for vocals, because I think guys get the prey idea, but sometimes coyote vocals can be a little bit tricky. You're not sure which sounds to use when. So we're going to get onto that, and I appreciate you guys watching this video. If you got any comments, you know where to put them. So talk to you later.